All right, hey guys, what is going on? It is Intelligent Cycle here, back with another album review, and this time I'm gonna talk about the latest album from one of the more highly anticipated, kind of more like underground independent acts, Chance the Rapper, with his latest in his fifth project entitled Starline. And how this album came about was during the time of the highly anticipated of his debut album, The Big Day, which a lot of the critical consensus, not coming from myself because I didn't hear it at the time initially when it came out, and from the disappointment from fans and critical reception of his core fan base and from hip hop media, they were disappointed in that record is because that album lacked a type of variety, song arrangements, and lack of depth, in what he was going for in that record, and it kind of just felt more so positively. So with this album encompassing, he kind of wanted to get back to his core roots of what he and when he initially got started from what he did with acid rap and coloring book. A lot of gospel influences, a lot of black influences, black empowerment influences. But he started off giving the title for the music video Highs and Lows. He released 4 new singles in encompassing with the album, entitled with songs entitled Buried Alive, Together, Stars Out, and Bad Boys 2. That was the restarting of the rollout after the initial one kind of just, fell back a little bit from 2023 and then into 2024. And then he came back on Lyrical Lemonade and he announced that this album was coming out July. He announced it was coming out July the 25th, but he had to push back and delay back because initially studio interference came. They wanted to add some more songs on the record, because this is 17 tracks. Initially, this was supposed to be a 12-track album, but it's 17 tracks. It's like an hour and 7 minutes long. My thoughts about this record, going into it, I was highly, highly impressed with the way he was just expressing a lot of his frustrations, mainly with the not only just the music industry, but mainly things that was going on in his personal life. He'll talk about a couple of times he'll talk about that, but not go into so much detail. But I want to start off. Let's start off because the first 4 tracks I really really enjoy. But let's start off with the Star Side intro. And the main thing I really liked was the lines here where he says, "I got a chain on roll. Call Roy G Biv. It's the new edition like Poison Bib Bell DeVoe. It's time to make noise again." Lauren Hill says, "Shake me, shake. She see me on the voice again. It's time to make the noise again." And by the end of the road, boys to men, you better use your pen, use your heart, child. Where's your viewpoint? Where's your art style? Sometimes a teardrop can make your heart smile, and it shows a sign and he sends a star shower. Fresh out surviving the coop, and the music stop. You might just lose your spot. No fairy tale endings. If you lose the plot, it's a written book. It's a written notebook. If you forgot, it's a love letter. I used to hate math. I used to love letters that had me in class with the dumb niggas. That nigga came to class with an umbrella and it's cool a sun dweller. Until a brother like Mike said, young fella, everybody dies. Some write poems and some right arm in my and right arm, and I said right on. Yeah, I mean, just he kind of was really getting a lot of things off in his chest, and I really and when I was listening to this record, I had it coming off as him really kind of sounding more. Let me get this off here. He sounds way more.
Dad, let me give you
Oh, sorry about that.
a
He's
help. You want to start?
Is this yours?
too many damn commercials. Sorry about that, guys. Anyways, yeah, he sounds way more fresh, way more refined, and it's less where he's got a lot of distractions coming off. He's really coming off aggressive. He's really coming off of like nostalgic. He's telling a lot of nostalgic groups, R&B groups. He's telling a lot of giving a lot of takes when it comes to the industry, the music industry, talking about his upbringing, childhood. It was a lot of stuff in here just impacted from this song alone that really was like, man, he really was going through some stuff. Was going through a lot of uh, uh, things outside of the industry and outside of the music industry. So I really appreciate where he was going with that. Another line in here that I really like also in the record where he says, "Shout out to the fact that they still ain't signed us, no contract, no fine print, no lease, no co-signment. I emptied the safe for the case and I ain't never been broken. But you know how broke I've been. Tell me how you can afford to file divorce, the child support, the back door, take the trial to court. Either I'm the best with these times is good. There's only two reasons the suit shine should rhyme this good. Heavy is like the crown. I'm ahead of my time. I let breadcrumbs when I read my rhymes. So if I catch the red dot to the dome, they'll find me a note when I head saying you read my mind. Again, just going through, just expressing, just a lot of just these thoughts, these contemplating a lot of thoughts in his mind about his past relationship, and also expressing thoughts about just for the sake of just rapping, just being just in the rap game, and just really encompassing more and really seeing the greater cause and the good of being in the industry and being in the rap game, and at the same time knowing that this is not the end all be all, in that sense. So I really thought that was a really good way of of really showcasing just where he was going with where his overall mind is at this point. And he also said the writings on the wall, baby, is fresco. It's a death note. It's a manifesto. Um, where he's talking about, like he said, when it's fresco, meaning you're talking about like mural painting techniques, applying pigments mixed with only with water, of course. It's a plaster. Basically he was expressing that way of trying to picture imagery about like fresco paintings, talking about writings on the wall. Like he's just basically is basically relating it back to himself. And basically the Death Note and manifesto, that's pretty much simple as can be. He's just talking about just where he's at currently right now in the industry, and where he's going to be after, when it's all said and done. I think that's a really good way of closing out that verse and closing out that record. And I love the outro where it leads to Richard Pryor, uh, and expressing a lot of one of his stand-up comedy moments. That was stand-up comedy specials, and also he was giving some insight too. So I really love the way that intro came off to me. So yeah, really good start. The next track, uh,
And so,
oh come on. The next song I really wanted to talk about was "Normal Old Man" with the collaborations for with him and Jamila Woods. And I'll talk about more of all the collaborations, all the artists that's featured on here, because there was a lot of artists featured on this record. I love this line where he says, "Barbershop boasting, bootleg lactose fist, forget the DVDs, I'm trying to get the galt drip, freckles, bifocals, and Kango hats, spinning stories about the blocks that they can't go back, singing songs about the women that they can't hold back. They used to rub them off their hair and they can't grow back. Clippers buzzing, crying, grandbaby boy cousin. First cut little man, quit all that fussing. And God fucking love you, but the world doesn't. That's how I learned to put my dukes up and play the dozens. Lessons and strategies of love and war. Chessboards and King magazines galore. A lot less love than it was before. A lot less of old men than it was before." That was a really hard verse right there, man. And he's taking notes from a lot of the people that was inspiring him and influencing him, as he's, talking about just a lot of nostalgic tales for me, from what I gather from that record. A lot of nostalgic tales that he was expressing about his career, his come up, growing up as a kid, like going to barbershops, going, having DVD players and movies, as they're playing, and then of course, you know, just always having the and always in hip hop and always barbershop conversations. That's kind of got what I got from a part of that verse. I also really like Jamila Woods' part on the song as well. Her singing on the hook really gathered and really gave something there. And I also really loved the hook and both of them going back and forth like a duet. I thought that was really nice. I like the chorus where he says, "And the kids ain't got a chance no more. They ain't even trying to free an old man no more. Pretty soon there won't be an old man no more." I really love that line. That's really crazy. Um, I really like the lines where he says, "Play catch so much I turned to Randy Moss. I had uncles up down at 79th, and with the boys beating on Floyd every fight. Cold beers, the cigar smoke, Pele coats, and card decks, and some harsh jokes." That was really cold. Uh, yeah, I really just enjoyed the way he was going in on that record, man. He really was just expressing his thoughts. It just really was getting to it. Let me get to the other song. And then probably my favorite song on the whole album is the Negro Problem with him and BJ the Chicago Kid. And I haven't heard BJ the Chicago Kid in such a long time. Really getting him out there and really putting him back on the track. It really gives a lot of, and he really pays a lot of ode to a lot of Chicago artists too, new current acts and old acts. He really was giving a lot of Chicago artists a lot of shine, because he's from Chicago. So I really like the fact he still contributes back to that as well. So that really is also a really positive there. Um, and this is where he expresses a lot of like I was saying before, black empowerment, going off of like pigmentation and stuff like that. Um, and just like it pretty much has just expressed the black struggle at this point. In this point in the album. I like the fact where he says, "Can't be out here sitting waiting on the next man. Wake up early, hit your reps, cook the eggs, man. Keep your head on a swivel because the pistols got switches on them. Even little sticks got restrictions on them. It sound a long way from the whippings, don't it? In the same road with some distance on it. It's the train police, it's the school police. It's gonna be police at the balloon, please." Whew, yeah, that's really cold. Then he also says, "Look alive when you died at the funeral here. A lot of complaints, but we just can't file them. Open shut case, we won't solve them." I also like to say, "Oh, I'm sick of you. All your minions so despicable. Me, a typical medical journey, only takes the place when it's critical. I know how when it's melanated individuals, with the more clinical trials, more chemicals for our women, the symptoms is more cynical. Give them Tylenol and still the umbilical scripts." Yeah, he's talking about a lot of the pharmaceutical business and how they are pretty much pawning and ripping off like just regular people, regular human beings, and getting money off to pay these horrible these same medical like prescriptions or just regular prescriptions that you would take in order for like calm and ease the pain, but it's not easing the pain. It's more or less enduring it because they're trying to take your money. That's what these pharmaceutical companies known to do, committing more malpractice, and he also expresses that in the track as well, and in that verse. I really love the chorus, repeats itself though, where he says, "Cause your problem, even though we are the same, we don't feel your pain." It really hits home just the expressment of just the problem, the Negro Problem record, and also expresses just more so his thoughts of just how much we as a community, we as a society, we don't see really more in humanity. Let me go to another one of my favorite songs on here, and that is, of course, the let's go to the highs and lows with Joey Badass. And this is also another title of my video because I'll talk about him later on with the new song he released. But where he says, "And I'm emotional roller coaster with the high so high I could put Bobo on the poster. When the bread get low like 4 loaves in a toaster, on the shoulders get a cold as 10 toes in Nova Scotia. Some days I hold a grudge, some days I hold Some days I Holy Ghoster. Some days I ghoster. Some days I supposed to. The crib feel like a gunfight, but them strollers, that's the holster. Wow. I mean, I mean, man, that's more just deprived and haunting, and at the same time, just real as it can all possibly could be. We can make amends for old means and me mimosas. And my mama know I ain't make my bed. I lay in it, whether it's a sandpaper, suede, linen, and I'm alone in Creole, Lady Marmalade Lincoln. Some pajamas I was afraid in. I'm the boogeyman slave. My blankets concealed in my blade in it. Emotional seesaw and strong knees in the free hall. It's a clothing with a chance of meatballs, and I check the weather. And then of course Joey Badass's verse. I really like the fact where he was talking about in this rhyme where he says, "In the spirit wanted me to be righteous, but I know I might just relapse. I get sucked into these devices. Got used to the feedback. I couldn't tell what's mine is. Sometimes we all the outside noise that really just blinds us. Beware of none of the what we saw is what we had to want to hear. The best things in life, it's the opposite of the fear. I swear I see clear. Like after the storm, we still can't stop the rain from loose ends. My word is bond like James, yo. I can't complain even because I did. Niggas really feel my pain. And the type of that might dropping insane, want to be dumb, the thumb, flicking the flame, the square one, overcame what you became. And like they was right, you ain't never gonna change. I guess you never going. Yeah, really, really dope. Really, really dope. Dope song right there. Um, let's talk about. Let's go into another one of my favorite. Another one of my favorite songs or songs I really enjoy. Let's go to. Let's go to Letters. I really do like this song right here because, and mainly the whole first verse where he goes, "Dear Emerald Avenue Church of God, I hope this message can reach you well. I wrote this with a broken heart, and recently when my aunt Carolyn passed away, and halfway to the funeral, I realized that some it's got gonna have to say, I think you outlasted. It wasn't just my auntie in the casket. You just buried KOK and Sunday schooling classes. The only say did you see every day as season passes. Some days somebody need their ass kicked. Know that you gossip could be louder than your shout. Who told you to walk inside this house and it's your house? Who lied to you? Told you that you wouldn't have nothing to say. You think I won't, man? It don't even trip. I'm on the way." He goes and says, "Dear Mega," in the second verse, he goes, "Dear Mega Church, this letter finds you for I do find a new building to hide you. I'm still behind you. Elaborate theatrics to blind you, nickel and dime you. But I knew I'd watch your worship idols, brand of Bibles and sell it for the double. Brandish rifles, curse and libel. Withhold shelter from niggas for survival. First ladies walking around with furs and titles. Your spirit is a man's face and call it God. It's really your dogma in a solid bob. I rebuke you in the name of the child of God. And boil a pot of living water. It's still till it's scalding hot." And in the last verse, he kind of goes, "Dear Black Church in this real world, don't forget about the 4 little girls killed in the church when they played the nursery 4 Sundays ago. This is their anniversary. Jesus was the teacher, King was a preacher, Malcolm was a PK, and so was Aretha. And my little prayer when I hand on the heater, we reaching and I'm slaying your ear off like I'm Peter." Really, really dope song, and that probably is all that I'm gonna talk about with most of these songs. So I really want to get to the Joey Badass Dark Oil record too. But here, my thoughts so far. My thoughts with this album is, I think this album is really, really solid from Chance. I really like the fact he is staying true to his roots, as far as Christianity. I really like the fact that he's staying true to his roots as far as, you know, being more so in the gospel feel of it. And I really like the fact that he was, expressing a lot of things as far as, his childhood, his upbringing, talk about his current relationship that kind of went south, wasn't really there. He kind of briefly mentioned it a little bit, but didn't go into too much detail. He was more or less living, more positive, more freely in his life, but he didn't really have something to live and fall back on, as far as just the lifestyle that he was trying to go for, the luxurious and glamorous lifestyle from what he was on in his last record. And I feel like this time around, he really came and really was showcasing, what he's been kind of going through and just living life over the past 7 some odd years afterwards. And still, I think he came back, and I think he came back with a vengeance. And this is probably one of his better records, in my opinion, since probably The Coloring Book. But I don't think, as far as, the replay value goes, and this is where I'm going to express my complaints with this one. My biggest complaint with this record is the album is just too long, in my opinion. It's 17 tracks. It's like an hour and 7 minutes long. And to me, the sequencing of this album just felt very, very all over the place. And especially with songs like Drake Tomania, I did not like that record at all. I was not feeling that. I think that did not need to be on this album. But from tracks 8 to 12, I was wondering, like, where was he going with this? Like, Space and Time, Leak Me in the Future, None of Your Purse, like Tree. I did not like none of these songs, and Burn Your Block. I did not like none of these songs on here. I felt like if you could have took at least about a good chunk of these songs off of the album, I think you could have had a really good album. I really did. I really think you could have had a really good album because it started off pretty fire. It started off pretty high. And there was some songs I didn't talk about, like Back to the Go with him and Vic Mensa. I thought they both absolutely ripped it. But it was just too many songs on here that just felt like felt lackluster. It felt like it was just there for the surface. And I didn't like the closing track, Speed of Love with Jasmine Sullivan. I felt like that song was a bit just boring. It was a bit too sleepy and shallow and hollow. It didn't really feel like that was a way to close the song out. I didn't talk about Just the Drop with Jay Electronica, even though Jay Electronica expresses a lot in that record. I don't know if he wants to try to. He kind of tackles with too many takes on his. I didn't really can tell if he was really he wants to be a Muslim or he believes things that Christians would normally believe. But then I'm like, are you a Muslim? Like, because you don't eat a lot of things that as more far as you change your habits, you change a lot of your habits, your eating habits, you change a lot of your daily life habits, and that's where I kind of was questioning that. I'm like, I didn't know what he was going within that record. But also, again, the album just felt a little bit too long to me, and there was a lot of songs in here. I get what he was trying to appease different crowds and trying to go for that mainstream appeal, but it just didn't work for me. Those songs did not work for me, and I think if he could have cut off a good chunk of this album, it would have worked. This album could have been, like, as far as I'm concerned, possibly in the top contenders for album of the year. Like, that's what I was thinking, that this album could have had a shot up there, because I was hearing the main 4 lead singles, and I was very impressed with the way he was his rapping ability, with him expressing a lot of concepts and song arrangements, the inspiration for the album, the cover. Like, I had a feeling that this is gonna be up there for contending rap albums. But yeah, this just felt way too long a little bit to me. And it felt like he was just trying to appease crowds. And I felt like the studio kind of interfered in some way to throw in a few songs that was trying to go for more of a mainstream appeal. And I just didn't think it didn't work. The sequencing to me just felt a bit off, in my opinion, to really keep me constantly going back to this album. And that's my only issue with this. So I give this album 2.5 out of 4 stars. It's still a good album. It still had its potential, but it just, to me, because of how long it is, I think you could have shaved off a good chunk of this album, and I really think you could have came out with an absolute fire banger of an album. But I get it. There's certain songs he can't perform. He probably can't perform over here, because I know he's gonna go on tour and perform this. But yeah, that's what I think was the big issue with this album. So yeah, I would say definitely give it a listen, give it a shot. But I would not express, as far as I'm concerned, probably copied it like that. But I do think as far as a comeback record, Chance is definitely going in the right direction. But I just feel like the coaching as far as the sequencing of the album and where he was going with the radio appeal with certain songs could have been dealt with a lot better. But anyways, real quick, I'm gonna talk about let me see. Talk about Joey Badass's record. All right, man. Oh. So Joey Badass just released his newest single that just came out last night, early this morning. It's called Dark Aura, and this is produced entirely by Chuck Strangers. Now, heading into this song, leading up into it, he had released another song that he premiered on Stephen Colbert show, and I believe that song was called ABK. And yeah, that was fire. That was absolutely fire. And this song is really, really good as well. This is for his album Lonely at the Top, which is set to release August the 29th. And I cannot wait for this because this song right here is just proving that Joey is still in a absolutely in a mode. And I think this could be a contender for album of the year, Lonely at the Top. This could be a contender right here because of the way he's expressing his hunger, his passion, his delivery, his energy, the rawness in him. He really is expressing a lot what's going on with him, man. And he's really kind of living a luxurious, rich, lavish lifestyle, but at the same time still taking back to his core hip hop roots and still improving on his lyricism, his wordplay, really improving a lot throughout his career. But when he says lines like this, custom fitted shoes, toasted whaler band, tucked to stainless, gotta move to swift and dangerous. They're gonna have to lift them wages. You're talking money, but you must be talking a different language. Independent mindset, well, we ain't faking with the majors. Again, he's really just getting into, expressing like the kind of like clothes and expressing just regular kind of like typical lavish stuff that I was saying before. But at the same time, him not going off of what the record labels is going through, especially since he's currently on Columbia. I really think he needs to get away from that company. Need to get away from them, period, and go to another label. In my opinion, probably go to Nas. If my opinion, for me, kind of breaking down the lyrics and where he's currently at, he wants to drop music. He wants to release music. I think he can do it on Nas' Mass Appeal record label. But if not, go to Rock Nation. You see what happened with the Clips when they just dropped Let God Sort Them Out. You need to go to either one of those labels. I can guarantee you, they will let you can have control of your albums, control of your music. They will let you put the music out the way you want to do it, and not have you kind of like feeling like you're pigeonholed into, being on their watch and being on their time instead of being on your own time. And that's what I feel like he's talking about in this verse, not just going at artists, going at rappers next. But I feel like in this one he really is getting to the root of the nitty-gritty of it. And I really like the lines here where he says, please don't push me, I'm close to the edge. You gotta know the ledge, knowledge is power. That's what my OG said. Man, that is probably one of the hardest lines in this whole record. That just hit me so hard right there. Absolutely powerful right there. That was a really good line. And he said, get your bread, don't be missile. You know the streets is dead, gotta stay a few steps ahead. Keep my family fed. Life is hard, hold your head, and never let them see you sweat. Every loss is a lesson, that's the secret of success. Can't forget to count your blessings, gotta keep your soul in check. Man, I don't know how in the world you heard this song, you do not like the way where he was going with it, man. That was a really, really powerful line in the beginning of the second verse, but then he comes in and just straight gets to just everything, on just what the things that's taught him and being around in the streets for a while. He sees exactly what the game is pretty much resided to him, man, and he's really giving it to you guys with some jewels and gems. And also some more jewels and gems when he goes into and saying, living life with no regrets, never take kindly to threats. I don't even take offense when it ain't even directly addressed. Trying to push my buttons I ain't even pressed. Gotta stay stunting, know my light can never be suppressed. Yeah, definitely hard lines right here. And he ends it with the spirit got me on every quest. The journey of 1,000 miles begin with a single step. Yeah, dope second verse, and a really dope song. Joey is really getting to the groups and the nitty and gritty of just where he's
Hello,
going
Moto.
through at this point. But yeah, really enjoyable song. I definitely suggest you check this one out if you have not heard it. It's definitely, probably in my opinion, one of my favorite records of the year. I will definitely be going back to this one a lot. You know, I love the dark looping, and I love the instrumentation, the kind of like the choir sounding in the background. I really love that about it, and I also really love the production from Chuck Strange. He really gave Joey something to really do it. Wasn't no typical like gritty sounding New York sounding stuff. You know, at the beginning point when he was going back and forth with Daylight and Ray Vaughn on, or they was kind of hopping on each other's tracks on different coasts. Like, it wasn't that. It was actually, you know, he's actually trying to make records and push the envelope, and I think he did with this one here. So that's my thoughts about this record. Tell me what you guys think about it down in the comment section down below. And yeah, I will talk to you guys in the next one. And my battery on my phone is getting pretty low. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out. Like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, I am out of here.